I will tell you these things. I know it because I've experimented all of them. When you see people who shout, naturally they have a loud voice. So shouting is not necessarily a sign of fire. You can preach loud because you are young and there is so much secretion of adrenaline. But that you are preaching loud and fast does not mean you carry fire. If you want to find out the indicator of the fire of God in a man's life, find out how many hours can he tarry in God's presence. And not just because he's exercising his will, but because he's lost in intimacy. That's a man who is on fire. He stays with God and he loses track of everything. If you tap him, he comes from an encounter. And he can do it as a routine. One of the things that challenged me about Reverend Hughes' life, when we lived together for 2 years, every day 3 a.m. he has woken up every day and he prays till morning. I say, what is this? Come, what are you doing here? What kind of discipline is this? Are you doing? I'm telling you, every day we will be around praying, sometimes gisting in the parlor. The moment it's 10 o'clock, he say, man of God, good night. I say, wait now, let's complete this. He say, good night, because he must wake up by 3 a.m. Even if he doesn't preach for the rest of his life, he's more on fire than many global evangelists. Because there is a force of the presence that commands his attention. That's the mystery of high places. The mystery of high places is that they command worship. So a man who understands the workings of his spirit, one of the things that show that is on fire is the pulling power of that spirit upon his soul. There is nothing he can do otherwise. Even if he's in the market, when that time of convergence comes, he will lose taste for everything. He can be in the office. When that time comes, the spirit begins to pull him. His soul can sense the moves and the movement of the spirit. He will pull him from wherever he is. Even if in the midst of a conversation, no matter how sweet he is, when that time comes, his body begins to itch him, because there is another fellowship, the fellowship of the divine. That's a man who is on fire. You are not on fire because you are shouting in church. You are not on fire because when prayer was going on, you carried a plastic chair up. You are not on fire because you are shouting and jumping everywhere. You are just being a young man. When you are 50 years old, you will drop the plastic chair and you will pray to God. Number 2, how do you know a man is on fire? The second sign of fire in a man's life is the move of the spirit in his soul. Every time there is a spiritual activity going on in his soul, that guy can be on a bike, a song is playing, he doesn't know how to shut it up. The Holy Ghost have taken over his space because he has opened the door. Jesus said, I stand at the door and knock. If any man opens, he said, I will come in and sup with him. That's a man of fire. That man can be talking to you, God is talking to him at the same time. That man can be on a bike, God is talking to him. He wakes up in the morning and there's a song in his spirit. He doesn't activate it. His soul has become a spiritual embassy. That's what happened to Jesus. He said, you will see angels as